Woo woo!
Hey, it's FEM talk time.
Yes, it is. So, y'all, guess what? We gotta have a conversation tonight because something big happened on Friday, and a lot of us are slightly pissed. What happened on Friday?
You're talking about our heart topic. I said heart topic. I meant to say hot.
This what you meant, y'all.
But it is.
The hot topic. The hot topic.
So, that's all I'm
yes.
saying.
What is wrong with these folks? Like, don't y'all know we crazy?
Can we make our own decisions with our own bodies?
Well, that's the issue because, like, are you going to make rape like automatic life sentences? What you gonna do with that?
I know. They did talk about the provision of, abuse or I'm sorry, my phone was ringing. Y'all know how it is. They know we having FEM talk. Stop calling me. The provision of those situations when it's a violent or abusive or something situation. But the fact that you have to make provisions for that and the outlook of the world at the moment, just this snapshot, we really want this is the time that you really want to take that right away and that opportunity just to, I don't know if you want to call it protect yourself. I can't even argue where I stand on either side. I just know that when it comes to your body, it should be your decision.
That part, I'm not somebody that would get an abortion myself under normal circumstances.
But
medical situation arises, rape or anything like that arises, I might give it some serious consideration. But I also would never negate somebody's willingness or capability of choosing for themselves whether or not to go that route. There have been several people that I know in extenuating circumstances in which that was a decision that they made. Right. And even looking back now, they say, yes, that was the best decision for that point in time in my life. But on top of that, too, this is a string that's being pulled at.
Right.
So what's next? Gay marriage?
Exactly. It doesn't have to go. This is the thing that we all need to make sure we're paying attention to. It doesn't have to be something that has been opposed for 30, 40, 50, 100 years. Mm-hmm. That gay marriage just became legal within the last, decade or so? Or 2 decades, I say. I really don't know. 2 decades. But it doesn't, the way that they're going about making the changes and deciding what should be and shouldn't be done doesn't depict timing. It doesn't matter.
Right. That part.
It's what I don't agree with.
Let's add to this conversation. Let's go ahead and bring on our guests today. We have the amazing Enasha Bradshaw in the house to discuss personal and business credit, as well as wherever else we might end up going this fine evening. So, Enasha, welcome.
What? She's muted.
Let us hear your wonderful voice.
Hello. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. So what's your take on all this madness? Because I believe it's the beginning of several things that they're going to attempt to change, and it's going to begin infringing on civil rights eventually.
Absolutely. I'm definitely in agreement with this. So my point of view is a little bit different. And since this is a hot topic and, we get to talk about some things that most people don't talk about, I'm actually a PK kid, times two. My dad's a bishop. My mom's a pastor. I have my own beliefs on certain things, but I definitely think that, and me and my husband were actually just talking about this. I actually think that it is a moment where you have religious views, you have political views, you have church views, all these different things that we grew up with. And while me personally, I would never have an abortion. I know people who have been raped and molested and have chosen to carry the baby and raise the baby. And I see this baby is now grown. Like, this is real life stuff we're talking about.
That's
And
right.
for us to have to make the decision of, one, mental health issues, all types of stuff that come and stem from this, of looking at it. I mean, some of us can't even stand looking at our baby daddies, that we had to sleep with and
Ding,
we
ding.
have to deal with. So to now have to think about people's mental health through this whole process and not being able to choose, will that now mean that suicide rates go up? Because they're like, if I can't get rid of the baby this way, do I just kill myself, kill the baby? What happens?
It
And
But there's
changes
been a lot of stories
Sure.
about women that are unhinged, that are having children and doing horrible things to their children. So now you're about to cause a lot more of that, because we already have mothers out here that should not be mothers.
Yeah.
I said that
And
too.
then the trauma, that trauma on the kids.
Right.
yeah. Or them being upset because they look like the rapist, or they look like, whatever happened to them. And it's just a constant reminder. Now, mental health issue happens with the kids, and different things happen with them. So we're talking about really changing the people that are around, the people that are marrying our children off, too. And
Exactly, Kathy.
That's right.
That's right, Kathy. Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. Because when you lose the options, when you get rid of options, there's desperation.
Mm-hmm.
So you do whatever you need to do to figure out, even if it's not the most rational moment, and most times it's not. At the most irrational moment is when you're going to say, I got to get rid of this child, or I can't have this child. So then you do all these other things that.
And let's not talk about the unpopular belief of, some people believe it, some people don't, where there is sex trafficking and selling.
I believe there's an underlying.
You get where I'm going with
this,
right?
There's an underlying issue that most people are going to speak on as well in regards to sex trafficking as well. It honestly, I believe if this country continues on the path that it's on, they're going to end up legalizing pedophilia.
Please,
in one shape, form, or fashion, whether they drop the legal age of consent or whatever. I believe they're going to end up legalizing it at some point, because they're going in the complete wrong direction. And it's because there's literally somebody that tweeted, "This is a win for white America." Like they know their population numbers are declining, and this is the answer to it. Well, I'm like, y'all done lost your rabbit ass minds.
Somebody, I was watching a reel, and the lady, I wish I would have wrote her name down. She was talking about a book that a man wrote, and he was saying that there's many ways. How can we stop this Roe versus Wade? How can we stop so many abortions? We're losing the Caucasian population, and soon the other colors are going to be in greater numbers than us. So
they've always been in greater numbers.
Well, what they said was
that always been on number 9 to 1.
Caucasian women are the majority of women who are having abortions are Caucasian, and she specifically said 60%. But that would be their best case scenario to increase the Caucasian population, stop the abortions.
So what resources are they going to create for these new children that are going to be born, being that abortions are now going to be illegal in a good portion of the United States of America?
Right,
because foster systems, you're going to get a lot of kids in the foster systems. Yep. There are very few children that I know that have entered the foster system and not been abused in some way, shape, form, or fashion. There are very few.
That's already.
And I've known a lot of foster kids throughout the course of my life.
That's right. Yeah.
So you're going to have a bunch of mentally damaged children that grow into damaged adults, and getting a gun is basically no problem in this country. So what do you plan on doing with all that? You plan on using these damaged children to populate your prisons in order to get free labor because you can't afford it, because this country's gotten too out of control as far as the capital greed going on? Is that what we're going to do?
But no, that's only going to happen if it's the black kids, right? They're not concerned about.
They already do that to the black kid.
Right,
and
exactly.
That's why it's the black parents' responsibility to make sure that you understand that this system exists, and you need to do your best to keep your children out of it.
Right. So Listen, you guys, we could talk about this all night.
Yes, we can. But it's time to get into the meat and the potatoes, which is personal
Yes,
business credit, y'all. Personal
that's
business credit.
right.
What we here for this fine evening. So,
Absolutely.
Yes.
before we jump on into that discussion, let's go ahead and hit a short commercial break. And when we get back, y'all, we're going to be touching on personal and business credit, because personal and business credit is something that you're definitely going to want to know and need and apply to your life, because things going on with this economy is about to be bug nuts bananas. And you can be there waiting for the tidal wave to hit you, or you can be riding that bitch. We be right back.
I can't.
My bad, wrong one.
And I was dancing.
Don't
Right.
judge me. Don't judge me. All right. Here we go.
Well, hello, and hello. I am here because I need to have a little talk with you. My name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm here to personally invite you to come in and experience a 90-minute free preview of my latest work. I don't want to just say it's a program but it's the culmination of my latest work. And I call it P3, Purpose, Patience, and Passion. Have you ever been in the position where you know something through and through 1,000% with no proof? What about this one? When you found yourself at that fork in the road of your journey, and to the left and to the right are two different opportunities, but you can feel some of everything, good, bad, and everything in between. But you stayed stuck. It didn't take either. It belongs to all of us simply because we are. So join me, won't you, for this 90-minute free preview of P3, the Journey series. Just come in and check it out. Come in and be a part of the conversation. Let's heal. Let's learn. Let's go. See you inside. Click the button.
We back.
Yay.
Magically shifted. It was awesome.
Uh-oh.
Tracy, you frozen and muted down there. She'll be back, y'all. She'll be
Yeah.
back. So,
Without further ado.
personal and business credit. Enasha, how did you get into this space, and what do you see in the space that keeps you sharing this information, because it's so very important, especially right now?
Absolutely. So a part of my story is where I was working. So I actually was a car saleswoman, and I sold a lot of cars, and I really wanted to help a lot of people go through and making sure that they had the best interest rates, or didn't have to have so many hard inquiries on there, and went through the steps the right way. And so after that, I ended up going into higher education, learning about student loans, and credit was another issue there as well. And so the good Lord gave me the opportunity to start a business and just share on personal credit tips. So I really got started in the industry talking about personal credit and helping people get negative items off, and really seeing a difference it made in people's zip codes and people's lives and the homes that they were able to get into. We're not even going to talk about the average rent that's going out here nowadays.
Good gracious.
So a hot topic, honey. Listen, how these landlords are just spiking up, not a couple of dollars, hundreds of dollars, and saying, hey, this is what it's going to be in the next couple of months. Or with how the real estate market went, and people were being pushed out of their homes, that they lived for so many years because they sold the property because it was just the perfect time to sell. But nobody realized that they needed to kind of prepare for that. And so, if nothing else, if you're not really paying attention in what's going out and going around in the world, you need to pay attention to knowing what roof is over your head and how you're positioning yourselves, like you said, for this economic turn. I'll say turn because it's not necessarily a downturn for everyone, but you want to be prepared for it. So I'm super, super passionate about it. Also, this journey to better credit in a whole, because my story personally is from Section 8 to commercial real estate. So I know how life-changing it can be firsthand. And then for me to have several businesses, I knew how important it was when I got the commercial real estate of having business credit and how you can maneuver with other people's money and keep your money, doing what it needs to do for you. We have people who are interested in crypto and other investing opportunities and different things like that. But you can only move that way if you're using other people's money a lot of times. So that way you can build your bank up well, and become that wealthy person, right? Not just rich, but become those wealthy people that we are definitely trying to be and become. So that's how I got started in that background, as far as personal credit and then in business credit. And I also knew that for me, I like to kind of infiltrate industries to see what we don't know on the outside. You fill out these applications. Why am I not getting approved? And so when I really looked at it, becoming a loan broker and everything like that, I said, aha, I see why everybody is getting, a decline for certain really, really small reasons. And if we can nip these things in the bud and fix those things by me educating, then why not give this information out to change that? And so we've been able to change people's lives, not just personally, but in their business of things. I talk to people every day where they're just in the idea stage, and I'm like, the Lord really gave me a great talent to be a business strategist. When I'm talking to these clients, I'm like, I know you came to me thinking one way, but I'm about to open the door to think some other things you didn't know. I just had a live workshop where we were just talking about creative ways in the real estate market. We had a lender there talking about creative ways and grants that people just never even heard of. And had a realtor there talking about, the type of stuff that most realtors aren't speaking about. And what all you heard the entire time was, I didn't know that. We had realtors in there talking about, I did not know that, so
that's something crazy.
I'm ready for you to bring that to Charlotte, Enasha.
Yes, I was just standing there looking at some properties and everything this week, so I'm definitely coming.
I might need to connect with you too, Enasha. But something that I found interesting is I didn't know that you can apply Section 8 to the purchase of real estate.
Absolutely, you can.
I had no idea. And when I found that out, I was like, I wonder how many people that are actually on Section 8 know that.
Here's the thing when it comes to Section 8, right? First, we had the stigmas and we have the truth about how people are with Section 8. Then we have different programs, right? So most people think Section 8 is one basic program, but there's so many programs out there, right? So I was on Housing Choice Voucher. One of my Section 8 properties that I lived in, I actually paid a lot of rent, over $1,000, right?
Wow.
But I also lived in a gated community, 2 pools, all the people retired in that community and everything else like that, right? So most people don't know how to leverage different programs that are on, whereas though I knew every program took advantage of this. Some of my rent was going towards a savings program. So by the time I left there, I had that. When I bought my first property, I didn't leverage the program, but I leveraged making sure that I had the right credit, because I went through programs that they put you through and I was like, they're not teaching anything. And you can't go to college for it, right? So I ended up, that's how I got the chance to dive deep into this and saying, no, there has to be. I remember crying at the kitchen table, like, I'm doing everything right, paying my bills, paying this down. Why is this not work? Why can't I get over this 700 hump? What's going on? And I realized I was playing checkers with the chess game.
Now explain us what that looks like, Enasha. Let us know what that looks like.
Yes. So a lot of times we thinking, pay my bills on time, don't get any credit cards, because like we talk about generations, credit cards are from the devil, right? That we from our grandparents. And so we sit up here saying, okay, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to use and if I get a credit card, I'm not going to use it. If I get a credit card, it's going to be a store credit card, like all the wrong things that we think, oh, I'm going to become get an authorized user, and that's going to take my credit score where it needs to be. When really these lenders can see when you have become an authorized user, and they actually will recalculate your credit score. A lot of people don't realize that, and they're like, yes, so I'm walking in the door with this credit score that I've built, and they're like, you didn't build it, you used someone else's credit. So that's, they
is that what happens with trade lines?
A lot of times when you buy in trade lines and you're trying to become an authorized user on there, a lot of times that does happen, right? Or we get these small little loans and we're like, all right, pay that off and do self-lending and everything like that. I'm like, wait, you're paying interest to pay yourself when you can really build up your credit. And a lot of times these small things, I call them band-aid theories that people do.
Yes.
You rip the band-aid off, you actually are worse off, you know, because it rips the scab, everything else, and then your credit score drops even lower. And a lot of people are like, wait, what did I do? Just like paying off debt. If you don't know what you're doing and you're trying to fix your credit by yourself, it happens all the time. I talk to people every day about this. Then more than likely you're paying off the wrong debt, right? So if you go to a lender, they're like, oh, I got to pay this down, do this down. Well, some of the debt isn't even showing up and you're paying down the wrong debt that wasn't stopping you in the first place. You could have put that money to something else, or paying off a collection account that actually needed to just be written off and you didn't even have to pay it legally anyway. So keep that money in your pocket for another investment or towards your down payment for a home. Or you're knocking down a debt like paying off your car, and that might be the only thing on there. And so when you do that, now you have no credit at all, and that's no credit is just as bad as bad credit. So a lot of people do things thinking, I can do this, I know what I'm doing, or like we talked about, Brandy, YouTube University, and there's so much information out there, and then they're like, and they find out it's not a cookie cutter method. Exactly.
And while we're talking about that, y'all, if you out here trying to fix your credit, whether it's your personal credit, your business credit, trying to start a business, get your business credit, get your business structure straight, stop going after free information. Pay somebody. Pay some freaking body. Pay somebody that shows you through their actions and will connect you with people that they've helped. Because at the end of the day, one, you're going to run around in circles. Two, you're going to take information that's either bad, outdated, or completely wrong and try to apply it to your life. And you're going to do more damage than good. And another thing, don't go to a car dealership without knowing exactly where your credit score is and having pre-approved funding, because I went shopping for a car and we were just looking. We had no intention of buying. Tell me why that dealership pulled 13 hard inquiries on our credit.
It's the proper way of doing it. I told you I was in car sales and financing.
Just rude.
That is the worst way, is to go to a car dealership without a pre-approval. And usually you go without a pre-approval because you're in a state of, I need a car now and I know my credit sucks, you know. And so fix your credit before you need it. Stop waiting to fix your credit for, I need to get this done. No, it's just like preventative care for your body, right? You go to the doctors annually, see what needs to happen so we can catch something and then say, okay, you might want to work on this in case you need this in the future. So when you're ready. And what I will share with you with that is, aside from the pre-approval, if we can jump in a business credit real quick about that. I mean, my husband literally just walked away off the showroom floor, a 2022 Chevy Traverse, black on black, 4 miles on it, like right off the showroom floor in his business name. No debt is on his personal. He's a real estate investor. He obviously doesn't want to put debt, hard inquiries, or anything like that on his personal name. About to go out and get another one because he's in that Turo world. So he's, doing that and getting multiple cars. But you have to understand that there is ways to go about this that people really don't know because they're not tapping into the information. And speaking about outdated information, Brandy, that was excellent that you said that. Nobody even looks at YouTube and see that this was a year ago and that bank has probably changed its rules about 4 or 5 years.
I've seen Navy Fair change its rules like 4 times in the last 6 months. Y'all better stop playing in these YouTube streets.
They go there and everybody's flatting like, oh, they said go here. And then they're like, yeah, absolutely not. That's not how that's going to work. So what we're doing now is, so that's why you need
what you need to do now is call Enasha.
Yes. We will absolutely help you and walk you through and tell you what to say, what not to say, and get that done. But even funding, right? A lot of times banks are telling people no nowadays. Like we hear all this business. They know that all these new businesses are coming. It was over 800,000 that started last year, okay? And we're not even counting this year yet. And they know that they're coming because they hear like, oh yeah, this person will do this bank will do that. Well, now they're saying no, right? Because now we're seeing this economy shift. And so they're like, wait, we've been here before. Let's scale back a little bit. We did want to have people borrow, but let's scale back just a little bit. And now we're getting more no's. There's a lot more people getting denied off the information that last week they could have probably went and got something off of those same rules that apply. And so what people need to understand is that there are several hundred creative ways of getting funding and getting even better interest rates than going to a bank. that they don't know about. It's not just hard money. It's not just the bank. Those are the two that I hear all the time. Hard money bank, hard money bank. Go off from,
we're gonna need that information.
I was gonna say you gotta give us 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
We're gonna know all about that. So y'all better stay tuned because that information is coming at the end.
I have a question. You made mention to the zip code, and in talking about personal credit. I'm not sure if it was both, but what how does that hinder or greater your chance? Increase your chances to having a better score, or and I ain't gonna say and I mean or and what do we need to know to make that better? You're not necessarily going to change your location, but how can I, based on my geographic location, make it better for myself?
Absolutely. So I'm in love with business credit. So you'll find out about me.
Like, to love the hell
I don't know if business credit I'm married to or is my husband, but I'm in love with business credit. And the reason why I say that is because when we talk about zip code, you have the opportunity through virtual addresses, especially when we're talking about home-based businesses, even if you have another businesses, virtual addresses are a real thing, the right virtual address. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. But when it comes to zip code, I would say I'm half and half with it, right? If your business and your zip code is in a not so great area, right? Because you're like, I'm just going to do it in this area. Well, there are some benefits to that when you're getting certain loans and SBA and forgiveness and stuff, because they're like, well, you're in this areas, get it. You may not be able to afford this. However, there are far and few between, with getting it. If there's more loans that, hey, let me put myself and my business in another area, and you can do that with virtual addresses, where you're going if you're from where I'm in Pennsylvania, you're going from Philadelphia County to Montgomery County, Target type of thing. You get to say that a little different, walk a little different, say, oh, your business is located here, right? Because there's some demographic things that change when you're putting things on an application and what you can get and what you can afford. When it comes to grants, sometimes you might do a little bit better having that zip code that's a little questionable, there. So, it really depends on which route you're going, whether you're going for grants or whether you're going for loans. And we all know that loans you can get more faster and a lot more money because grants, you're taking a chance with it, although it's a lot of money out there with grants as well. So that zip code, when it comes to business credit, is important. It's not the most important factor, but it's really, really important. And when I tell people the most important thing you can think about when it comes to picking your virtual address is making sure that you Google it. Make sure that you Google it and see what comes up. So if I'm a underwriter, right, for whatever company that you're trying to borrow money from, and I say, okay, we're looking for FEM talk on the outside of this building, and I see everything but that, right? Most people go to, Staples and FedEx and all this other stuff. Well, I know that's not your business now. However, if we use the virtual addresses where they're in a building, it's a high rise, and you can have any office in there, then I might have a better chance of saying, okay, we can check that off. They say they're in there, we'll check that off and kind of go from there. So it becomes very important to use that. And a lot of these virtual addresses too, if you're a small business owner, they have certain amenities as well to it, whether you need to have the office, if you're like, oh, I have this person coming, I need to have this office, I want to present and do a workshop with a bunch of people there, or just have a receptionist answer the phone in your business name that makes you more credible when a underwriter might be calling, and even when your customers are calling. Oh, that's so much more professional. Like, who this? Hello.
Oh, this is she.
Right. Then you change the voice. Oh no. Oh yes. You reached the right person now. Yes, I'm sorry about that. I don't know who answered that phone, but we'll take care of it.
I'm not paying myself to call someone from my own phone. What the hell?
Right. So even with phones, I tell people all the time, a lot of people. So some of the reasons why people get denied when it comes to business credit is phone numbers. They got their cell phone numbers listed, and that's a big no. The address. They probably the most simplest thing that I've ever seen is when people go and they put their name in acronyms or change it in any form. Whatever you put on that with the Secretary of State, whatever you put with the IRS, please stick. It's just like your name. If you go to the bank, you're signing your name, and I'm signing Enasha Bradshaw. I'm not changing it today and saying I'm Nene Bradshaw because I don't like typing it. So, you know, you have to really make sure that you're sticking with the name that you gave yourself, because that's going to be something that's going to hurt you along the line. You know, it's a red flag, right? If you it's like you're working with the alias, right? So you don't necessarily want to do that. Stick with that name.
And it's interesting that you say that, because that's not the first time that I've heard that. And the last person I heard say it is a very trusted person that I actually pay to learn from on a regular basis. So, y'all, ding ding. I hope you're paying attention. Message.
Right, that's something you pay for, Brandy, right? You know,
right.
They're getting
that's something I paid for. Y'all just got that for free.
Right.
Are you listening now?
Right.
And thank you for mentioning the whole phone number thing too, because you know when you're starting out as an entrepreneur, it's your cell phone, it's your cell phone, it's your cell phone, right? But
cell phone, home phone, home address, all that good stuff. And what people don't understand too when it comes to business credit is when you list your home address, guess what? Everybody in the world who looks up your business gets to see. So next time Ray said, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna come see you because now Ray has your address." So we don't want that to be the thing for you and your business, especially if you do it right and do it right the first time. And like Brandy said, pay somebody, make sure you're doing it right. So you don't have to waste time and years. And now for the last 4 years, you've been operating under your cell phone on this address and you're like, shoot, I could have money sooner and I got to change this stuff anyway.
Right. Yeah, I got a question about that actually. Somebody that has been operating over there under their home address and now it has the funds and the resources to go ahead and get that virtual address. How does that work, especially when you get a virtual address that has an office you can go to when you need to? Because a lot of people do the home address not understanding the a lot of us start a company and we're like, we had no idea it was actually going to get this big. I can start hiring people stuff now. So I need to get a location and everything's still showing up in my home address.
Right. So it's a process. That's something that we help people with all the time because most people did exactly what you said. Let me just do this. Oh wait, it's actually a business, right? Because we don't think our business is actually going to be a business, right? But it's a business once you start it, once you are operating, it's a business. So with that being said, what I would give as a suggestion is one, have a professional help you like myself. We can walk you through all those things. But if you're going to do it, one, you have to go to change it with the IRS. Now we know ways to change it faster than what you typically would do. And you're like, wait, they still ain't changed this. Change them change their address everywhere. Secretary of State, you can do it that way. IRS, business bank account. We're not even going to talk about if they were operating that way. They probably didn't get their business banking in order and everything. So they probably still commingling. A lot of times people do that as well. But change it everywhere. Once you get that address, change it on everything should match, right? So if I get married, I decide to change my name. I can't show them my old social security card. I can't start using that old ID, but I have stuff on my new thing and saying, oh no, I changed my name to, Bradshaw. No, I have to change everything. It takes some time, but it's definitely worth it because what happens is if you don't change this information and you're starting to build business credit, let's just say you big time now, you're building business credit, that could affect you and where it's reporting and say, okay, well, we're going to give credit to the old information and this matches this other business closer to than this business that you're actually in because all that doesn't match. And then you're like, I thought it was reported. Or whose stuff is this? This is not even my stuff, So you want to change everything so you can say no everywhere. This is my address. This is my company name. This is everything. That is not mine.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And what about like dual state registration? Like you may be domiciled in one state, but like for me right now, I have to go into that because I'm in North Carolina, but my business is domiciled in New Jersey.
Yes. So I tell people all the time, you can do it that way. It's a little tougher. When you're building business credit, I tell people just move the business over if you can get it done. Unless you're one of people that move every couple of years, you might not want to do that. But if you know that you're going to be stationary there, it's a lot easier to make sure there's less mistakes going on behind the scenes when you're building business credit. Because there's nothing worse than most people check the Duns and Bradstreet, business Equifax and business not TransUnion, Experian, all that stuff. And then what happens is they're thinking they're good to go until we start checking check system and LexisNexis and all this other stuff, and they're like, wait, where did that information come from?
Right.
Giving a deeper dive into your information, and you're realizing that some of this stuff is reporting over here, some is reporting over here, some's not reporting at all because they couldn't figure out which one to attach it to, and you think you're doing something and building towards your business, and when you go to get a loan, what that does is, if I'm an underwriter, right? We all going to put ourselves in an underwriter thing. And I'm saying, hey, somebody borrows, let's say from all of you, somebody borrows $100,000, right?
Here's my underwriter.
They want to borrow $100,000. So now when I say, okay, I'm coming to you guys, I want to borrow $100,000. You're 3 different banks, the Brandy Bank, Tracy Bank, Shima Bank. Listen, I need this money. So I'm borrowing from all of you. And I say, listen, I need to borrow this money for my business. This is my business information. And then you go do a little bit of research, right? Whether it's Facebook, social media, somehow, whatever the case may be. And you kind of find out that I had 3 other names, different variations, one address over here, one address over there. Where I'm getting my money back and where I'm finding you. And what name am I finding you under? Y'all giving me that $100,000? Can I just want to make sure if I can come to y'all. What's wrong?
No.
A little bit.
Right. So what do you think a bank that's supposed to secure all the people's money, because they're using other people's money to give to you?
That's right.
What are they going to do? They're not going to do it. They're going to be like, this right here. I mean,
these things is not like the other
directions.
I went a few years and years ago to get my gun license. In the process of me getting my gun license, I moved. I had put one address in because that's where I was at the time. I moved a couple weeks later and they were like, denied. I'm like, denied? I don't have no record, no nothing. You know why? And they were like, from there on, every time you had to renew, I did get it, but every time I had to renew, I had to tell them I got denied. Why? Because I moved in the process of it. And they're like, we saw 2 different addresses. So if they're doing that, and that ain't strict and tight at all, then what do you think they're going to do with this money when they know that people try to escape and go and hack and do all types of everything? They're like, absolutely not. So it makes it a little bit harder for you when you're building because you have so much going on that they're trying to, what is it? You're trying to make sure you're a credible business. And
right. And that right there is important in itself.
Yeah.
So
we try to make it easier for ourselves, but we actually make it harder for ourselves moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Not trying to do it. And then with working with my company, we make it easy for you to be able to transition some things over and walk you through and talk you through. So that way you're not on the phone 17 hours out of your day trying to get somebody to be like, I just want to change this one thing.
Help me.
Absolutely. And so that's why we do the free consultations with my company, because we want to know where you're at, what stage, and how we can help you to make sure that this is a wise investment for you, or where you're at and what you need to do, making sure that you're fundable. At the end of the day, nobody wants business credit. They can't get money. Right? Like what's the point of doing it? And you want to be able to leverage a lot of money. And so like I tell people all the time, one misconception that a lot of people have is, I have to be in business so many years and have this going on. You need an EIN number, and that's about your name, there, and that's about it. It doesn't mean that you need to have revenue. Is it easier when your business building revenue? Absolutely. But it depends on how much revenue, right? So I tell people all the time, it's 3 C's that we can make sure that you're getting funded. Either you're going to have cash flow, good cash flow, right? Revenue. And I tell people all the time, that has to be about $10,000 in monthly revenue or more. And a lot of businesses, especially small business, aren't making that. Collateral. Right. So a lot of times people don't want to put their personal house on there. Maybe if you're a real estate investor, you might be like, all right, I got some collateral I can work with, or whatever the case may be. Maybe it's a 401k. You just are trying to get out, or you're still working at this, so you have some form of collateral in that way. But one of the main things is good personal credit. I tell people all the time, you don't have to stay there, right? I want to teach you how to build business credit where you don't need any personal guarantor. But if you do, to start off, to say like, hey, my business isn't making any money and I want to borrow money. Well, who they want to pay the money back? You on there to say like, listen, I got my business back. If the business ain't paying, I will pay it until you can grow to the point where, and it doesn't take long to grow there, where you can show like, oh, I have good business credit, and they can just go from there. But that's the best way of leveraging it, because like, for instance, I'll give you a testimonial. One client we had, this was last year. And literally it was 4 months new that we helped them build different things for the business credit. We already helped them with their personal credit. and they were able to get access of upwards of $5 million for investing. New investor at that. Most people are like,
do it now.
No,
One more again for the slow people in the back.
Right.
Yes, $5 million for a new real estate investor. No deals ever before, anything like that. And though I, told them, do not take all of that money because then you end up wait till you get, these things. These are some things that we want to, help with. But to know that you have enough money to do whatever it is that you please, whatever your dream is. We really specialize in people who are just startups or like, look, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just starting up. I have this idea. And if they just had the capital, we would see this thing booming and moving and grooving and they're able to market. I even talk to a lot of realtors who are like, why am I not? I ask them all the time, like, why are you not operating as a business? I get it. You're a person. You do this, but why are you not operating as a business? You use gas, you have a vehicle. Why do I have a company vehicle, a gas car, all these different things in your company's name? And, many times they're coming across properties and stuff they can invest with. And they're like, oh, I should.
Yeah.
Good business credit does not take good personal credit. Does it make it better? Yes, but you're missing out on a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
Right. But I got a question.
Yes.
Because something has shifted in that sector of things, the business fuel cards. Yes. A lot of them have switched to personal guarantor, or you need to put down a deposit to keep your account where it's at. Are there any places that you know of someone can go to get around that? Because that whole personal guarantor thing, once you learn the power of that, you will avoid it at all costs.
Yes. So a lot of times what it takes is a phone call to the company when you're doing your application or prior to you doing your application there, because a lot of companies are still doing it. And let me be clear for all my newbies who are entering this sector and they ask you for personal guarantor. Personal guarantor isn't the worst thing ever. Let's be clear about that. What it does is say if you what you're doing is most of that debt, all those payments, all that will go on to your business credit. If you don't pay, that's where we get into. If you don't pay, then it would go on to your personal credit. So what I tell people, if you're just starting out, never go with the intention of trying to get something not paid, because then you're going to miss out on a lot of money that's coming towards you in the future. Where they're right. You didn't like, excuse me, ma'am, I'm giving you this increase, I'm giving you this because you messed up so badly in the beginning. So never get with the intention. So it's not a bad thing because you can absolutely get to that. When I bought my first commercial property, I was a personal guarantor starting out on there as far as checking my credit and everything like that. But all that debt went on to my business and we did so many different things with that building, that place, never paid a mortgage on it, all that good stuff. And it changed everything in my life and what I had access to, all because of me starting out initially with that personal guarantor. Yeah, it still is never hit or anything because I do what I'm supposed to do, right? I have a tenant in there paying, and then I use the bottom down for commercial space. So it's always a plethora coming in. So that's one huge thing. But when it comes to that, the gas cards, because everything is always ever changing. I don't want to send you out there and then you're like, they changed up the information too, because that would be the very time that it changes right overnight. I always tell people you have to stay up on the information because a lot of it, and then it's us telling you what you need to say, so that way you don't have to put it on there. Like, yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to put mine on there, but I still want to put my application in. And a lot of times they will still allow for you to do that if you're saying the right things. It's all about, the right things and working the system that way. So that we're like, okay, because they're still in the business of credit, right? You need people to give money to, right?
Right.
And for it to work. So they're definitely looking for it. But sometimes we don't open our mouths and we just file an application and we're like, oh, never mind. And that's it. You ain't call, you ain't leaving voicemail, you ain't, do what you're supposed to do to make sure that it does not go into your name and doing different things like that. And so that's what we talk about. And then with our business credit, coaching program that we have, we literally will walk through all the tiers, tier 1, 2, 3, 4, getting you funded and everything. It's the whole process with us. So that way you leave with money. You're not just leaving with a good.
Oh, you just spoke a different language. You're going to have to break down what tier 1 through 4 is. Like, there's tiers to this?
Yes.
And those tiers, knowing those tiers and how to get to each one is how you get company vehicles and things. So you better
absolutely. And so what people need to understand that if you're building on different tiers, what you have access to, when they're going to pull, when you should pull, so you can and increase your credit limits. There's so many different facets of this. We were talking about playing chess, checkers from chess. This is going from playing chess, and now you out here playing football. Like, what's going on here? Like, why we're here? We supposed to be moving and grooving. So, you know, it's a whole different ball game, a whole different field when it comes to business credit there. But I always tell people, you don't know where to start. Start with your personal credit. Make sure that's good, so if nothing can stop you. Even if you do build your business credit, most of my clients, if your personal credit is not there, I'm going to talk to you about it. I'm like, why are we not fixing this up so you can leverage the most money out there possible?
Right.
What are the three? What would you tell our audience would be the 3 top things they need to do to get their credit, to begin to increase that credit right now?
Yeah, so let's talk about personal credit and let's talk about business credit. Personal credit, 3 things that you need to do. One is know what's on your credit profile. That's number 1. Forget knowing your credit score. There's over 33 different credit scores. And if you're dealing with me, I don't care if you have a low credit score and you're trying to get into a home. I know the right lenders. I know the right realtors. I know how to work the system for you so that you can get into a home. That's not what they're looking for. It's not necessarily highest credit score. Most realtors, if they know the game, they're going to tell you 680 is preferred because they know they got a lot more they can work with. But there's other factors, that contributing factors like length of employment that they can go with, you know, over the time, your credit score and stuff like that. Will it affect your interest rate? Yes. But I tell people all the time, know your credit profile, not just your credit score. Oftentimes we're like, oh, my bank told me what my credit score is. What's on there? How'd you get that score? So a part of our free credit consultation, we actually do a credit report analysis and we give you a credit audit that they can print out, take home, whatever. It gets emailed to them so they can review everything that's on the report, from hard inquiries to address, like everything. So that way you can know. One, look for that report. Look at any errors on there. So I'm not talking about that it was past addresses in there. I'm talking about addresses that weren't yours, because that could be a sign of identity theft. It also could mean that somebody might have reported your information wrong. That means that some of that history can come off as well. But know what stuff is on there that is wrong, all the errors, all the obsolete information that's not on there. What I will say in terms of looking for errors on there, I get a lot of people that say, oh, I want to take off all my old jobs and my old addresses. That does not boost up your credit score. All it does is help identity theft be easier to happen to you. Because if they're asking you security questions about when's the last time you had a student loan, and you're like, oh, let me get this off, and what was your address on 5400 block of Chestnut or something like that, then you're like, oh, I took that off. Well, now they don't ask that question because they don't know it's associated with you. And now, oh, they only need to know your newest address, which is out there for the world to see because that's in your business name, right? So you make it so much easier by removing old information like your address and your employment. That's where those questions come from. So I don't recommend moving those, but just errors. If it's wrong, it has to go. If it's right, it might benefit you and keep it secure from somebody getting your information. So that would be the second thing, aside from checking your credit profile and then checking it for errors, not just reading it, right? We got to actually do something with it. The third thing, I'm going to be honest, is to book a free credit consultation with me. Why? Because we're going to give you, I give away so much information. My team, we give away so much information on there that you're going to know exactly what you need to do. The problem is people don't want to do it. And that's when they become a part of our program. They're like, you said a lot. How am I supposed to do it? Where do I start? And we're like, I can help you with that. You need to know, like, I know what's wrong with my credit. I know and they don't understand it. A lot of people go out and get a credit card because somebody told them you got to get credit, which is absolutely right. You do need a credit card to build good credit, and because that's 30% of your credit score. But what most people don't know is that if you use over 30% of that credit card balance, you're going to lose upwards of 200 points, just like that. One late payment one time, you'll lose 50 to 100 points. The higher the credit score, the bigger the drop. People don't know that information, and so they think like, oh, I've never been late before. Let me just this one time. And then now they're like, wait, where did my credit score go? And how the heck did that happen? And nobody knows until they start crying. Okay. So
guilty and guilty.
Yeah.
Right. You don't know until it happens to you. Then you like,
and mad about it too.
Right.
You know, using the credit card they gave me. It was my money. It was a secure credit card anyway. And then they're like, no, it's 200 points. I've seen people have secure credit cards for $300. They use the whole $300, right? It's not much, but they lost 200 points for $300. It's not even worth it, right? They're like, I could have paid that off yesterday. I could have did that weeks ago. But they didn't know that's what was holding them back. And so a free credit consultation will tell you things like that. And then we're going to get you all the way to a place. So if it's personal credit and you're like, I want to get a home or whatever the case may be, we're going to match you with a realtor or lender, if you haven't, that are going to be able to get creative with what this market is. So that way you're not sitting up here like, I'm only looking for one thing. Like, no, it's time to get creative. That's what we do in our community. We get creative, know the game, and then we use it. And so that's who we partner you with. That's no additional charge or anything like that. And right now, we're starting people and fixing up their personal credit for enrollment as low as $1 right now. Okay, $1.
Well, let me tell y'all, yours truly has her free consultation already set up because there's some things that I need to do. So Enasha there.
Yes. And I just want to give those 3 tips real quick for business. Okay. So all my business owners, I hope you're listening. I'm here. And you can definitely, it's going to be some things I'll tell you what to do at the end. But my business owners, do me a solid, do me a favor, right? You need to know what funders are looking for. So definitely book the free. I do free business consultations as well. So you know what you need to be funded, right? The worst thing you can do is go out here and say, okay, I'm trying to grow my business credit, and you don't even know what they're looking for. A lot of businesses are out here thinking that they're building business credit and it's not even reporting. 90% of the accounts that are out here, the net 30s and everything, are not even reporting to the business credit bureaus. And so they're doing all this work and it's not even happening. It's not even working for them. So know that these companies are going to report, know what's going to report there. And we can give you all the information. If you go to our website at www.manifestmoreconsultant, there's a resource page where we have resources for your address, whether you need a virtual address, business phone number, whatever you need, that information is there. As well, you can book your free consultations there. But you want to be able to get in the habit of knowing and matching all your information. So if you already know that you're one of those people I was talking about that gives acronyms for their business, shortens it because they don't feel like writing everything, go back and change all your information right now because you're going to get declined. I'm going to tell you that now. You're doing yourself a disservice. Fix all that. If your information is in your home address, fix all that right now. Like, don't wait.
Right now.
Like right now. Because anybody can check it like yesterday and know and have your information. That's really, really easy. Like, these hackers is out here, and identity theft is the second highest crime there. And then my third thing for all my business owners is to make sure when you are getting funded that you're not just going to the bank. You're not just starting at the bank, because a lot of times you're going to get those hard inquiries. You're going to get the client, and they're going to do PG, and you have to learn how to get creative. You'll hear me say that all the time. You're one of my clients. They hear all the time, like, we're about to get creative right now, and that's what we do. So when you come to me, I'm going to make sure that, especially for my business owner, that you are credible, that we're not going to have any hindering blocks, whether it's your name, your industry, you put yourself in, whatever the case may be. And then we're going to make sure that you are building your credit in order and not just jump into the top tier and wondering why they only gave you $500 on a credit card. Everybody else had $50,000 and $100,000 on their credit card limits. And put yourself and position yourself in the right way so you can get the most money possible. Most businesses fell, over 80% of businesses fell within the first 3 to 5 years because they don't have the money. They don't have the capital. They can't move forward. Our real estate investors, you see houses all the time not being complete, and it's just sitting there. They can't do anything else. Well, why don't we fix it before it becomes a problem? Why don't we make sure that your interest rates, you're not just going for hard money? And that's what we do. So if you guys, and for your guests and for you guys as well, you ladies, if you text the word free to 877-234-1406, you will get everything to book your free consultation. You will be able to find a time that works for you. And me and my team, we're going to be able to help you. And you can book for all three, whether you want a funding consultation, a business credit, personal credit. You like, I need it all, which is the majority of everybody. We will absolutely help you, because it doesn't have to be in any particular order. When I talk to you, I'm going to find out what the best way it is to get to your goal, and then we're going after it. and now you have guidance along the way, information you need.
Now, with that, all of you tuning in right now, and all of you that are going to watch this replay, if you learned something new tonight, if you got some information that you believe that you can use in your own life, if you know somebody that can use this information, I need you to drop a 1 in the comments right now. And if you know somebody needs this information, tag they butts right now.
I just want y'all to know that
you can't say I don't know. You got what you need right here, right now.
Yeah, that's right.
I just want to let everybody know that little twinkle, twinkle, twinkle noise you just heard was my response for texting free to that number.
That's right. Look, it was just that instant. You don't have to wait for anything, okay?
That's right. That's right. I tell you what, I'm already on the schedule.
I know that's the ones on the board.
I know that's right. Our calendar is open, and then they're usually packed up as soon as we announce that the calendar is open for the next month. Usually packed out. So hurry up and book your appointment so that way you're not in August because July is almost booked.
Here you go, Mimi.
Right.
I know that's right.
I made it.
That's right.
Mimi said, I need that number again. Here you go, Mimi.
877-234-1406. This has been good.
Yeah, Kathy said she sent it out to her sister-in-law already. See, you got people sending it to people too.
Right.
Listen, now is the time. We're not going to wait until the economy turns all the way down. We already know where we hit it. And then we're like, I need to, these houses that's now available. They're like, wait, this dropped again. This is available. And now we're like, I got to hurry up. I can work
when those houses drop.
Right.
There is no I'm gonna finance a down payment. It's like if you're working with a bank directly, they're gonna want 20% minimum. They want to make sure that's coming off their books and that you can handle it because they don't want it back.
Yeah. They sure don't.
Absolutely. And like we talked about last time, Tracy, the rent everywhere, the mortgages everywhere, everything's looking the same. You can't say, I'm gonna move over there, it's a little cheaper over here and get more for this, and that's not a thing right now.
No.
So I mean, when I say me and my team, whether it's lenders, whether we're talking about real estate agent, whatever the case may be, when we talk about getting creative, and I'm talking to my real estate investors, I'm talking to people who are trying to buy a home, we're talking about, you know what? I never knew that I can get a burnt down house and I didn't have to use a construction loan and I was able to build the house that I wanted all within one mortgage. Not, I got to take this loan, I got to do this and figure it out. A lot of people don't realize how to do that. And when we say we can match you up and make sure that you have that, now you're talking, because you might be thinking, your realtor might not be thinking out here saying, okay, you want this area and give me what you want, when I can have someone sharing with you, you know what, you might want to think about this area because it's up and coming. A lot of people are buying this area and it's going to be worth this, especially those multifamily, you know, all this different stuff. And then you're like, wait, I didn't even know that was over there, you know, because we're so stuck in one place. Get creative, let go, learn some information and see how much it will benefit you, because that's right here where the market is. You can't just go for what you want, and especially if you're not getting approved for those higher numbers, and you still want to keep your interest rates low. What we say is, with our team is that, yeah, you can get an FHA loan, but we like to get the bougie loans, like the conventional loans, okay?
All right, y'all. Now, you got so much information tonight. Enasha, thank you so much for sharing with us this fine evening. You have been absolutely fantastic, as one of our sister queen's favorite word goes. So we're definitely going to need to have you back, because you went over a lot of information, and I'm excited to connect with you and learn like where your virtual trainings are, because I need to know all about that. But with that said, y'all, we got to close out for this evening, but we will be right here, right in the same spot next week, next Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 Central Standard Time. So thank you guys for your time. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for dropping those ones. And I love you guys. We will see you guys next week.
Bye.